The diner was loud in the way small towns always were at noon. Plates clinked, coffee poured endlessly. Laughter echoed a little too freely near the counter, where the sheriff sat like he owned the place, because in this town, he did. The waitress moved fast, eyes down, shoulders tight. She had learned long ago not to draw attention. She balanced trays, apologized even when it wasn't her fault, and kept her sleeves pulled low despite the heat. No one noticed the bruises on her wrist. No one except him. He sat alone in the corner booth, back to the wall, eyes calm but alert. He didn't come here often. He didn't come to be noticed. But training had taught him something civilians rarely learned. You don't need to look for trouble to recognize it. He watched the way she flinched when someone spoke too loudly, the way her smile faded the moment she turned away, the way she froze when the sheriff called her over. "Hey," the sheriff barked, rattling his glass. "You deaf or stupid?" The diner chuckled nervously. "Yes, sir," she said quickly, stepping closer. "You spill this coffee again," he said, standing up slowly. "I'll make sure you're cleaning roads instead of tables." Her hand shook as she reached for the cup. It slipped. Coffee splashed across the counter. The room went silent. The sheriff didn't hesitate. His hand came across her face hard enough to turn her head. The sound echoed through the diner like a gunshot. She staggered back, eyes wide, stunned more than hurt. No one moved. No one spoke. The sheriff smiled, enjoying the power. That's what happens when you don't listen. In the corner booth, the man's jaw tightened. He didn't stand immediately. He observed. He memorized faces, distances, exits, the position of the sheriff's deputies, the way the waitress's knees nearly buckled as she tried to stay upright. Then he stood, slowly, calmly. He walked toward the counter. "You shouldn't have touched her," he said. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The sheriff turned, annoyed. "You want to join her?" The man didn't answer right away. He stepped between the sheriff and the waitress, placing himself there like a wall. "You are doing your job," he said. "You crossed a line." The sheriff laughed and shoved him in the chest. "This is my town." The man didn't stumble, didn't blink. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. One message, one tap. Sent. "You've got about 2 minutes." "For what?" the sheriff scoffed. "For witnesses," the man replied calmly. Outside, engines roared. Black vehicles rolled in fast and silent, stopping with military precision. Doors opened together. Boots hit pavement in unison. The diner windows vibrated. A man in tactical gear stepped inside first, eyes scanning, then locking onto the stranger. He stopped, straightened, saluted. "Chief," he said. The sheriff's face drained of color. The stranger turned slightly. "Secure the scene." More operators entered, calm, controlled, overwhelming. The waitress stared, hands shaking, as one gently draped a jacket over her shoulders. The sheriff tried to speak. "You can't, I'm the law." The stranger finally looked at him fully. "No," he said quietly, "you're just loud." Handcuffs clicked. The diner exhaled. As the sheriff was led away, the stranger knelt beside the waitress. "You didn't deserve that," he said softly. She nodded, tears finally falling. He stood, finished his untouched coffee, and walked out without another word. The diner would talk about that day for years. But the man, he was already gone. Because people like him don't stay to be thanked. They step in, and they leave things better than they found them. The diner didn't return to normal after they left. It couldn't. The chair where the sheriff had been standing lay on its side, forgotten. The badge he wore, once feared, now sat abandoned on the counter like a lie exposed. No one rushed to clean the spilled coffee. Everyone was still trying to understand what they had just seen. Outside, the sheriff was placed into the back of a black vehicle, not roughly, not angrily, precisely, the kind of control that left no room for resistance. His voice cracked when he spoke, but no one answered him anymore. Power only works when people believe in it, and belief had just evaporated. Inside the diner, the waitress sat on a stool near the counter, wrapped in a jacket that didn't belong to her but somehow made her feel safe for the first time in years. Her hands trembled as she stared at the floor. "You okay?" the cook asked quietly. She nodded, then shook her head, then finally whispered, "I think so." Word spread fast. By nightfall, the town knew everything. Old stories resurfaced. Complaints buried years ago suddenly felt safe to tell. People who had been warned to stay quiet finally spoke. Statements were filed. Doors opened. The sheriff's deputies were interviewed one by one. Some resigned that same night. Others were escorted out in silence. At the station, evidence was laid out like a map of shame. Recordings, financial trails, witness statements, patterns no one could ignore anymore. All because someone refused to look away. The Navy SEAL didn't attend the press conference. He didn't stand behind podiums or answer questions. When asked for his name, the response was simple. He asked us not to use it. The waitress returned to work days later. Something about her was different. She stood straighter, spoke clearer. She still served coffee, but now when people looked at her, they didn't see someone small. They saw someone protected. Above the counter, someone had taped a small handwritten note. "You're safe here." No one admitted who wrote it. The diner became quieter after that, kinder. And somewhere down the highway, the SEAL drove on, rain hitting his windshield, radio low, eyes forward. Another town, another road, another place where someone might need him. Because true strength doesn't announce itself, it watches, it waits, and when the moment comes, it acts.